Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to this wonderful edition of Lumberjack Logic Live, folks. This may be the favorite live I ever get to do of all time because what we witnessed last night was nothing short of amazing. And I want you to hit your knees and thank the good Lord that Donald Trump won the election. Because if he hadn't, just imagine where we'd be at. Just imagine the nauseating nonsense you would have had to listen to last night from Kamala Harris. I mean, this is Donald Trump, his life being saved, his 4 years in the wilderness, and then him winning the election, folks. This is a God thing. You cannot convince me any other way. Okay. And so do me a favor, please smash that like, do chat in with where you're from. And how many of you agree that this is a God thing? This is not a normal moment in time, folks. This isn't just, like politics as usual. This is absolutely, and what we witnessed last night, don't ever kid yourself. Woke is dead. This was the destruction of the platform of a party, which then destroyed the party itself because it won't give up the platform. Folks, right now, 80% of Americans by survey through these news outlets, okay, if you trust their polling, 80% of America doesn't want men playing in girls' sports. And when President Trump called out the fact that that gal's face was hit so hard with a ball that she suffered a traumatic injury, that see, Trump didn't just win with his base last night. He won middle America. See, a lot of people, because the news media doesn't want to cover those stories, don't even know those things exist. There were a number of things that Trump did in his speech last night that played right to middle America, that played to suburban soccer moms, that played to everybody. It was absolutely amazing. We're going to go through some of the highlights of that, folks, because this was it was cataclysmic for the Democrats. And I mean, even lefties were admitting it yesterday. And even people who didn't like Trump were coming around saying, he's making sense, because Democrats have chosen issues that make no sense. And then, folks, I got to share something with you here. This is incredible. I've got clips from the speech, but I've got some stills as well. Oh, and please go check out my sponsor, MyPillow. That's right, mypillow.com. Use promo code Lumberjack for the biggest savings on the best sleep products available, or call the 800 number. It's always my favorite way to order. That's just 1-800-568-2865, 1-800-568-2865, and keep some phone operators employed. But those travel pillows, still $9.98 for the roll and go pillows, free shipping on the order. It's a phenomenal deal over there. But let's get into this. So they made their signs, their special signs, and then they've turned into memes the next day. So you've got Ilhan Omar married her brother. That's a real story, folks. I don't know how many of you know this. I'm from Minnesota. Then there was the ballots in the trunk issue with Ilhan Omar. Hopefully she gets truly investigated. The DOJ can go after her. Then we have didn't get my retarded sign. I mean, these signs really worked against them. Then we've got America Last, I Love War. They should have had that one on Pocahontas, actually. I voted against women while they wear their hot pink. I don't know what a woman is. I mean, folks, this is so great. This is so great. And you have to understand that they couldn't even stand up and cheer for moments like this. This is when Sean Parnell was hugging the kid who just got his honorary Secret Service badge, folks. I mean, this is, again, and the Democrats couldn't stand for that. Not only could they not stand for that, but then I'm going to show you some clips of people like Nicole Wallace and Rachel Maddow that'll blow your mind. And you say, well, but we don't want to see what they have to say. Hey, you're going to want to see this, because what it is it shows their complete disconnect from reality. Okay. Hey, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Smash that like for me if you would. Let's get this stream out there. Here, flash poll by CBS News immediately following the speech. 76% approve, 23% disapprove. People, this is CBS News, YouGov, Flash poll. More than 3/4 of Americans approving. You have to understand that there is 20% of America who will hate Donald Trump no matter what. And he called that out in the speech last night. He could do all kinds of great things. He could come up with the cure for cancer. I know you've heard that one before, but it's true. And they still wouldn't approve. That's that 20%. Okay. Here you go again. CNN reaction to Trump's speech. Very positive, somewhat positive. You're still right there at 70%. Negative 31%. That's from CNN. I mean, this is again, I don't think you can overstate what happened last night. Okay, because Trump won in every facet. He was funny. He hit all the issues that we have such a strong plurality of voters on. And he did it in a way that made the Democrats look foolish. And they couldn't even stand. Look, think about who they couldn't stand up for. They couldn't stand up for the wife of a murdered cop. They couldn't stand up for what was he 11 years old? The 11-year-old cancer survivor. They couldn't stand up for the kid who just got admitted into West Point. They couldn't stand up for Laken Riley's mom. They couldn't stand up and applaud anything. They looked so out of touch, so foolish. Folks, they have relegated themselves. They are not going to win the midterms. I'm going to just make a bold prediction right now, right here. So bookmark this, bookmark it, because typically the party in power will lose in midterm elections. That has been numerically a reality, and it's just not going to be this time. Everybody's freaking out about the tariffs. I'm going to do a separate video on that because Canada's talking tough, but you need to understand what percentage of their GDP goes to us and what percentage of our GDP goes to them. In fact, I'll just give you, I think the numbers on US GDP going to Canada and Mexico is 2.6% of our gross domestic product going out to those nations. And for them, for Canada, we are somewhere, we're right around, it's more in Mexico. More of Mexico's goods come to us. But I want to say it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 30%. I've got the exact numbers. Like I said, I'll make another video on that. But the tariff war is Canada. You got such feckless, idiotic leaders. What is wrong with Canada? God help them. All right. So let's get into some moments from the speech. I'm going to start with what I think was the best moment. And I need you to understand too, one of the things that happens is the cameras that are in there. Okay, so just understand this. There are cameras that are in doing the speech. And usually, as you know, if you've watched any of these speeches in the past from any president, they pan to reactions from the Congress people much more than they did last night. And why didn't they do that? Well, because those cameras are they're contracted and they're run by liberal media outlets. And so when those cameras pan, they did not want to show the reactions of the Democrats that much because it was that bad. So here's a moment that they should have been able to stand up and cheer for. So this was the guy getting his West Point. And here's the kid who got his, this is so great. Comes up and high fives him from behind. Okay. This is, and just watch that again. It's such a beautiful moment. Because the one just got his honorary Secret Service badge and the other just got admitted into West Point. And I knew that was coming. As soon as he introduced that young man, I knew that was coming. You could see it. And Trump masters the moment there. He mastered the moment in front of the crowd. It's just incredible. Sammy says, I laughed so hard at the stupid signs the Dems had. I mean, we were all laughing. And, right, Voodoo Crab, it was so wonderful. These moments, he understands and he gets it. He's going to put that stuff to the forefront and then, basically force the Democrats not to cheer. Just remember, there is only one thing, folks, that the Democrats cheered on last night. What was that? For those in the chat here, I just want to see if everybody caught this. What was the one thing the Democrats cheered for last night? Because there was only one. Okay. Well, you're thinking of that. I'm going to share one of the funniest moments. That's right. Somebody got it already. War. Ukraine. War. That's it. That's it. That's it. The only thing. The party that used to be the peace love party now cheers for endless war. And you wait till you see how Trump pulled that moment off. We're going to dissect that a little bit more. But watch this one, because this was one of his funnier moments of the night. Absolutely hilarious. Give him a 10 on this.
130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases, are age over 160 years old. We have a healthier country than I thought, Bobby.
We have a healthier country than I thought, Bobby. See, it's moments like that, and that resonates with everybody when you can use humor that well. And Trump does that so well. I mean, that's kind of a he could do stand-up comedy. I mean, that was a solid 10. What do you guys give him on that moment? Just for 9, 10, 8? Maybe some of you are feeling. Do we have any liberals in the chat? Is it a 1 for you folks? But I'm giving him a 10. Jan Hood gives him a 10 with 3 plus signs after it. So, I mean, it's phenomenal. 20, 11. We turned it up to 11. Where was it? Heavy loves you. Anyways, it was 11. All right. So now here's, and I think this was probably the slam dunk moment of the night, because the media peppered this so hard before the election. Remember when they kept talking about how President Trump didn't want this the best border, the greatest, the most amazing, most phenomenal border bill in the history of the world, the toughest, the baddest, hires more people, gives you more stuff, spends more money. And then he pulled this off.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Folks, that right there, absolute slam dunk. I mean, if it was a scale of 1 to 10, like moments of the speech, I mean, I can't even, it's got to be more than 10. I mean, I don't know where you guys are at. That's like 100. I mean, all we needed was a new president. He basically called out all the lies that they had peddled to us. And it resulted in absolutely one of the greatest ads to come about. And I'm going to share that with you right now. The Trump team launched this. This was just before or just after the speech. And it really nails this well.
You made a final decision on taking executive order in terms of what you want to do at the border. That includes the power to shut down the border, as it was suggested.
Well, it suggested that. We're examining whether or not I have that power.
He says there's a lack of urgency in Washington on this issue. Does your administration bear responsibility for that?
It is no secret for anyone that we have a broken immigration system.
The reason we have chaos at the border is because Republicans have continued to refuse to fix the legal immigration system.
To those who think that if President Trump wins, that we can get a better deal, you won't.
There's more you can do. All I can do. Give me the power.
You don't need a bill. I had the safest border in the history of our country. We had no bill. I just said, close the border. It's closed.
The number of migrants crossing the southern border illegally in President Trump's first full month in office plunged to a level we haven't seen in 25 years. Do these numbers prove President Trump's theories right?
Illegal crossings along the southwest border have fallen to their lowest levels in decades.
Border apprehension numbers are the lowest ever monthly total in American history.
And officials here tell us that the reason behind this dramatic drop in illegal immigration is the new administration's tougher immigration policies.
Folks, rate that. I mean, one of the things, see, the internet is forever. You know, it used to be that we didn't have access to everything they had said in the past like we do now, but now we do. And you can continually see that these Democrats absolutely, and Joe Biden absolutely 100% lied to us, not only about the border, about President Biden's mental fitness. And now Jake Tapper is coming out with a book about the cover up. He was involved in that cover up. Anybody could see that Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit to be president. Everybody knew that the border was better under Trump. And they tried to peddle these lies, and they're sycophantic suck-ups in the mainstream media that are receiving your tax dollars to lie to you. See, I don't get government tax dollars. And I'm not going to lie to you. And it's just absolutely mind-numbing to me that they thought they could get away with this. And they almost did. They almost did. That is why it is so important to, find your media sources and make sure you find people you can trust. Okay. Because this is just nuts, and it's narrative control. Here's the cheering. I've got 2 videos on the Pocahontas line. You're going to love this. Okay. So first, let's watch the clip as it went down with the whole spending money, billions on Ukraine. And let's dissect this, because Trump did something really amazing here.
With no end in sight, the United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense, with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. $2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that.
Okay, there are so many things to comment on this this one thing. So first off, watch. I'm going to just turn the volume off, but watch the faces of JD Vance and Mike Johnson. Kind of shake their head. JD Vance, looked like the principal at the school dealing with idiotic children, and that's the problem. The Democrats looked so juvenile last night. They looked so juvenile, but the thing Trump did. Now watch. I'm gonna turn the volume back on and bring this back in. I want you to just see the clips. Okay, so he talks about the billions being sent with no guarantees in this endless war. Okay, now they're clapping, and this is where it gets good, because he's sitting there listening to it. He lets it go on.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years?
Do you want to see? So he gets a little snarky there. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? And he does that. He almost trolls them out so that they keep clapping.
Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Okay, then he makes it funny, so Pocahontas says yes. And some people, so now just, us, we're like, yeah, Pocahontas, right? And so, but some people in America are going to be like, whoa, it's going to be an attention grabber. I'm just trying to explain what happens in this moment, because it's an attention grabber. And some people are going to be like, oh, did he have to go there? Did he have to call her Pocahontas? But that grabs their attention. Now they're glued. And then this happens. I'm so glad the camera panned back to her with her defiant face clapping, because now here's the killer.
2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that.
Wow, right there. Do you see what he? So first he talks about how many billions we've sent. The Democrats can't quit clapping. He calls out Pocahontas. It pans to her while she's still clapping. You want it to go on another 5 years? America doesn't. He knows that. And then he calls out how many people are dying. Ukraine and Russia are losing a generation of young men, a whole entire generation. And you want to clap? You want to cheer? You want to cheer that on, Pocahontas? I thought the Democrats were the party of peace. Do you remember the days when the Democrats were opposed to war? Do you guys remember those days? Make love, not war. Peace, peace. Yeah. He just destroyed them in that moment. Again, do me a favor, smash that like if you like what you're hearing here. But now watch this, because this is where it gets really good. So this is a signer signing the speech. Okay, so this is the broadcast signer signing out the speech at this same moment. Watch this.
Security with no anything.
And then the clause, the clause. There's a clause.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah. You would say Pocahontas says yes.
She
2,000 people have been.
I mean, you can't help but laugh at that. And then, so again, but the Democrats, they double down on their stupidity. So they can't even, they put themselves so far out of touch with everyday Americans' concerns, okay? And with everyday Americans' beliefs. It's gone so far as they give Trump openings like this. I mean, talk about driving a truck through it.
$1 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million.
Seriously, I want you to think about that. Sedentary migrants. If they're migrating, they're moving. Sedentary migrants. I mean, no one even knows what that is.
$8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of.
See, I mean, the humor. I mean, I was laughing, and even people who don't necessarily, they're not like us. Most of the people who, you listen to my channel, most of us are pretty mega, right? But even people who aren't, they're just normal American, they're going to laugh at that. That's what he's done. I mean, he was so funny and engaging, and he made it so that people could find him easy to like. And let me ask you guys a question. Just yes or no on this. How many of you had ever heard of Lesotho? I mean, I've been to Africa. I haven't heard of Lesotho. I mean, maybe somebody out there has. Maybe somebody's done some missions work or something in Lesotho, or maybe somebody got a business. They're importing goods from Lesotho. Does anybody out there know Lesotho? Anybody? I mean, no. I got no's, not me. I mean, yeah, he didn't scream like Joe. That's a great point, Jan. I mean, yeah. Remember when Joe Biden did the speech and he was just screaming? Lesotho, nobody. I got nobody. No. Somebody's saying, oh, I think, okay, so let me just go here. I think it's Lesotho. Okay, I've never heard of that either, Alish. Alish, I've never heard of that either. Has anybody heard of this one? Lesotho? It's just, oh, somebody had, we got one. Mark, you're so well versed in the world. There you go. I thought, no, like never, nobody's heard of this. All right, moving on. He's just killing it here. That's 2 lines in a row, absolute home runs.
$50 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million.
Okay, to me, I was laughing at this point. The rest of them weren't laughing. I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. Listen to this again, one more time. Just listen to this. This is the word salad of liberalism.
And Afro. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real.
Yeah. And we kind of laugh, but we kind of don't at the same time. See, this is the problem with those, remember they passed those big bills that were this thick and nobody could read all of it. We did, though. I mean, remember, I covered some of this. You know, we got money going to transgender surgeries in Pakistan or women's studies here, this, there, and that there. And yet, Congress still voted for it. So I'm not giving these Republican Congress people just, you know, oh, wow, you're off the hook. But it's wild when it really comes out. What the work Doge has been doing has been phenomenal. And here again, America doesn't want men competing in women's sports. And when Trump brought that gal out to the forefront and talked about the injuries she received, I just read the other day, it turns out that there was a guy competing in California who beat the women by 8 feet in the triple jump. 8 feet. The very people wearing pink to this address just voted against it. Not one Democrat. So, I mean, I've had enough of all these Democrats who say, oh, they're reasonable. Okay, so we've got the guy out of Pennsylvania. What's his name? Who wears the sweatshirt all the time? Fetterman. And he's sitting out there today. He's like, oh, he's talking about immigration and how the Democrats lost it. Yet, guess what he voted for? Men to compete in those sports. For real. There isn't a one of them that's reasonable. They need to see a complete destruction of their party because we actually do need options in America. Okay? Because if you give one party rule for too long, they'll get heady about it. Do you guys understand this? I mean, even if it's the Republican Party, which there are the ideals that I ascribe to, but I am telling you, if they are permanently in power, you won't ascribe to their ideals anymore. Do you guys understand that? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's real. Okay. So we actually need options. And we don't have any right now. There is literally only one party you can vote for. It's just that bad. So here's this moment.
Are only two genders, male and female.
I mean, why is that even a discussion point? I mean, why is that even? I'm just like, you know, there's more going on. Understand that this is not right versus left. This is good versus evil. This is freedom versus totalitarianism. That's what we are seeing. That's what we got to witness in the last 4 years. We got to witness how they wanted to govern. And they didn't want to govern, they wanted to rule. And all of America saw that. They saw the lies, the obfuscation, they saw it all. And Donald Trump is only going to get more popular after this. Again, we just saw that over 3/4 of the people who watched that speech, Americans who watched that speech, approved of it. Over 3/4. The Democrats got destroyed last night. They can't put a positive spin on this. You do understand that, right? I mean, this is not hyperbole. I'm not over speaking here. Yes, they've got a year and a half before the next election that they can try and work things out in their party. But let me ask you this question. Do any of you think that the Democrats are going to correct course? Seriously. I'm being completely serious here. Do any of you think that based upon what we witnessed last night, that they're going to correct course? They were out in front of all of America, knowing the cameras were going to be on them, holding up stupid signs and not applauding for cancer survivors, not applauding for moms who had lost their children, not applauding for a guy who came home from Russia to his 95-year-old mother. They can't applaud for any of that when they know the cameras are on them. And you think that they're going to come around and figure out a way to win electorally in the next couple of years? They're not going to course correct. They are going to have to be absolutely sent to the ash heap. I mean, you got to salt the fields on these people at this point. It is just nuts. So now let's witness one of these other moments here. So I don't think it's a good time, folks, to be somebody who murders cops.
Stephanie, we're going to make sure that Ryan knows his dad was a true hero, New York's finest. And we're going to get these cold-blooded killers and repeat offenders off our streets, and we're going to do it fast. Got to stop it. They get out with 28 arrests. They push people into subway trains. They hit people over the head, back of the head with baseball bats. We got to get them out of here. I've already signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty for anyone who murders a police officer. And tonight I'm asking Congress to pass that policy into permanent law.
I mean, can you imagine how hard that's got to be for these people? I mean, you know, she's lost her husband. You had Corey's wife and daughters there who lost their dad in that assassination attempt out in Butler, Pennsylvania. They couldn't stand and cheer for that. I mean, and Donald Trump is now of the belief, of the mindset that the only reason he was saved by God was to save America. And yet this now, to show you the complete irrelevancy of the Democrats, watch this.
I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Wow. It's wild. It's wild. See, this is how badly they've lost it. They're still going back to the J6 narrative, folks. Still going back to it. When you look at actual polling on that, the majority of Americans have moved well past that, and they didn't necessarily feel the way that she feels about it at the time. And so talking about the officers who committed suicide. So first off, 2 things on that. One is that profession just as a whole has a higher rate of that simply because of all they have to see and go through. But the other question is, why in that case? Why? And let's talk about the J6ers who have, I just saw the one the other day. Guy gets pulled over by a cop and he ends up going to get a gun to shoot himself and said the cop shot him. I mean, if you guys saw that. I mean, yeah, we saw the entire summer of love. I live in Minnesota. I mean, these people are just irrelevant, man. And then here, I'm going to show you another one. I got to start pulling files from here. Let me see this one. I think this one might have even been worse.
Record, and this is disgusting. The president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising Doge. The Doge cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer.
I mean, they don't get it, and they keep going down this road. So here's the thing. Like, if I was a Democrat commentator, I'm just going to try and put myself here for just a second. Okay, if I was a Democrat commentator last night and I had to have the unfortunate position of trying to defend Democrats, I would not have talked one iota about the cancer boy. I mean, DJ 11. I mean, I wouldn't have brought that up. I don't think it does them any good to bring it up. I mean, I'm trying to think what I could have even covered. I could say, well, the Social Security thing, yeah, they might be there, but that doesn't mean they're receiving checks. So I could have done something like that. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to, like, how do you even Gosh, can you imagine trying to be a Democrat commentator after last night? I got the easy job here, folks. The easy job, man. I'm telling you. Let's see. We got more here. Here's another one. They couldn't even. This is wild. Listen to this one.
Is to get toxins out of our environment, poisons out of our food supply, and keep our children healthy and strong. As an example, not long ago, and you can't even believe these numbers, 1 in 10,000 children had autism, 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong, 1 in 36, think of that. So we're going to find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on. Okay, Bobby, good luck. It's a very important job. Thank you.
That's wild. I mean, so even in that, when he's talking about real issues, and I thought the Democrats and Bobby, he used to be like a hero to them because he talked about these issues. Now, simply because he's with Donald Trump and in his administration, he's the worst, most evil dude on planet Earth. And they can't even cheer the concept of clean water. Wild. Wow. I mean, you are looking at a party that completely destroyed themselves. They are in complete decline. It's I just can't even. I just like, wow. It's unbelievable. And again, you know, it was my favorite line of the night. Here it is. I got to play it again.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
It's just the greatest. Oh, folks, I was so excited to do this stream today. I mean, what I witnessed last night, and it was funny because my kids originally were like, oh, you know, we want to do some other things or whatever. I said, you guys should watch this. I am telling you, I was laughing so hard. By the time it's done, that like 3 of my kids they're just watching it as well, and they're just laughing, and then they're like going, golly, I can't believe the Democrats are this dumb, and so on. It's just, you can just, you know, here would be something, folks. If you took a kid, let's say, who is 5 years old, who was uninfluenced by the school system telling them that babies should be aborted, and you told them, oh, there's a baby growing in mommy's tummy, but we don't want the baby, so we're going to take it out. There's not one kid at 5 years old who would be running around going, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. That's why they go after these kids so hard. They need to strip them of their innocence. They need to destroy any concept of morality. See, in Romans 1 in the Bible, it says that the invisible qualities of God, his divine nature, all these things are made known throughout creation so that men are without excuse. So we all have a conscience to know what's right and wrong. We all have that. God is a God of order. He's designed the world in such a way, and it all makes sense. Okay. So, you know, if you're going to go out and get drunk every night and shirk your responsibilities, everybody knows that's wrong. Nobody finds that respectable. You know, if you're going to, as a wife, badger and berate your husband all the time, everybody can look at that and go, well, that's obviously wrong. No one's going to go, wow, that's awesome. You can see it. And when things are done right, the watching world stands up and cheers. That's why they go after the kids so hard, because there's a bunch of one worlders out there, and don't kid yourself. If America falls, the world falls. And then they can maintain their control. They can gain absolute control and absolute authority, which is what some people really seem to want. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know why they don't want people to just live and let live, but there are people controlled by demonic forces. That's all I got for you. I mean, it's just as simple as that. And it's sad, but it's a reality. And until the day of Christ's return, that's what we have to deal with here on earth. So, I love y'all. You're a great audience. Okay, thanks. Again, please go check out my sponsor, MyPillow, mypillow.com. Use promo code Lumberjack or call the 800 number at 1-800-568-2865. Again, that's 1-800-568-2865. Support Mike Lindell and all the great work he's done. The other day when Trump called him out in that speech, it was so good because it's so true. Mike has never backed off. And if you missed the video on Tina Peters yesterday, good video, because Tina Peters, the DOJ has entered that case out in Colorado. That is state charges, not federal. So Trump cannot issue a pardon there, but there's something else going on. And there's a statement of interest filed by the DOJ in a case out there in Colorado. So that was my upload yesterday. So if you don't know about that story, go check that out. But other than that, thanks for listening, folks. If you're new, again, please subscribe. Love to have you on board. We got a great group of people. You can see there from the comments. Some of these people have been with me since I started. People like Voodoo Crab, Asian Orange, Jan Hood. I see a bunch of you on there. So thanks again. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.